Hello and welcome today. Thanks for stopping by. Today, basically, all I wanted to talk about is Operation Harsh Doorstep. And specifically, I wanted to say that Operation Harsh Doorstep is the antithesis to the modern gaming industry. And you guys might be asking, well, why do you believe that? And I have several reasons that I kind of want to discuss with you today on why I believe that Harsh Doorstep is so important. And it's a pivotal moment in game development and, most importantly, first person shooter. And I suppose I could start with the first point is the current modern gaming industry is one that focuses itself exclusively, perhaps way too much, it's gone over its head in focusing over profits, over gameplay, and player satisfaction. If you look at recent games, give for example Overwatch 1, compare it to Overwatch 2, you've seen that they've pretty much monetized even more of the game than the first one. And in a game like Call of Duty, they've done that. You won't find that surprising at all, basically. And you look at any other game and you see so many microtransactions that are being pushed in your face. Fortnite really, I think, kicked it off. And I think we all can agree that since then, online games, especially shooter games, have not been the same since then. So it's very important to see Operation Harsh Doorstep basically pop up and say to these other games that, hey, look, your microtransactions are ruining these games. I mean, look at Operation Harsh Doorstep Steam page. The game is free. There's no paid segments to play the game at all. Absolutely none. Now, you can argue that their DLC is almost in a way microtransactions. Well, it's not really. That's how I would argue is it isn't. It's not a microtransaction. Why? Because the developers, Blue Drake himself, has already said that this game is its intention is to be free. It is to be released free and free forever, which is a very, very commendable goal. And microtransactions, let's just say it right now, it cannot be understated how much microtransactions ruin games. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, take a look at his franchise, as respectable as once Call of Duty was, and you'll see what it's done. Rainbow Six Siege, so that's the Rainbow Six series, Ghost Recon, it's incredible. Just look at any game and you'll see that they've all been ruined because of microtransactions. And you'll see that Operation Harsh Doorstep does not have microtransactions. Why this is important is because microtransactions only affect the game appearance-wise. It doesn't truly change the game fundamentally like old DLC used to, where it added a new campaign, maybe a different section of the game that they completed or something, like that. They don't have those anymore. And the next important that I saw in Operation Harsh Doorstep that you don't see with other games is Blue Drake has mentioned that he wants Operation Harsh Doorstep to come out as a game, but more than that, OHD isn't just a game. Moreover, it's a platform for everybody to come together and to build on top of. So really, it's almost in a way like, think of it like this. A bagel. You have a bagel. What do you put on your bagel when you eat it? Do you toast it? After you toast it, maybe you don't toast it. You put cream cheese on it. Sometimes you mix cream cheese and some cold cuts. You see where this is headed. You have a plain platform here that they want you to build on top of, add your own. Tailor the game to what you want it to be. And treating this game as a platform for whatever may be added to this is a fantastic way of releasing the game. And I know that you have probably seen those videos in the recent day. I can't believe this is Roblox. Those Call of Duty videos. I don't want to say copycats, but re-envisioning of Roblox as one of those fast-paced Call of Duty arcade shooters, which is fantastic, by the way, and is going to be one day possible with Operation Harsh Doorstop. And that leads me to my next point, is that the modding community is called to join in and throw their 2 cents in. This isn't one of those cases where the developer makes the game and then they seal off whatever. I'm not a modder, by the way. And they deny the community the ability to come in, to fix the game, to add to the game. And I'm not saying that Operation Harsh Doorstop will be a better game because people are being exploited for free labor. That's not what I'm saying at all. But rather what I'm saying is they're having the opportunity to add what they believe they want or the community wants. And the thing is, Blue Drake, you can see that consistently on YouTube, Twitter, wherever it may be, he's always asking the community, well, what do you want in the game? What specific feature are you looking for? And most importantly, he's trying to distill the very best features the most liked features on other games, such as the healing mechanics from Squad or the looting system from Tarkov, whatever it may be. You can obviously see that happening in the community right now. And by having the community's inputs and taking it seriously, it's very important for the development of the game, for the positive development of the game. Where the game's going to head in the future is really, at this point, from what we all can see, is how the community chooses to approach this game, how they choose to respond to Blue Drake's inquiries about what they want on the game. And that is something you typically don't see with a lot of game developers, not even other first-person shooter indie developers. And that's another important piece, is that when the developer team, the core developer team, Blue Drake, and the community are all pitching their ideas together, they also look at other games, for example, because obviously a lot of inspiration from this idea came from something like Project Reality, from Escape from Tarkov, from Squad, from Hell Let Loose, whatever other hardcore first-person shooter game there may be. And you can often see that there are many mods in those other games that are very, very influential on this game. And I saw just a few hours ago that the Galactic Contention, that Squad, the Star Wars mod for Squad, there's a similar one popping up for Operation Harsh Doorstop. Now, obviously, it's not on the same levels yet. Obviously, it's brand new. And if you've looked through the game's description, you've seen Troopers mod, which is a mod based on Starship Troopers. And it's a fantastic mod. I mean, you get to hold an onslaught of bugs one after another. That sounds pretty fun. And just not too long ago, a Halo mod as well, actually, from that person who was developing the Star Wars mod. So very, very unique. You can see these, that is 3 separate themes that you could cover Operation Harsh Doorstop in. And guess what? It completely changes the game. And another important factor that I see with mods in this game is that, as Blue Drake said, even if the core development team stops developing for this game, the modding community will always have access to the development tools, the SDK, whatever it may be, and as a result, mods, new content, new weapons, new themes, overhaul mods, whatever it can be, will always keep coming in for this game. And that's important because this game's longevity isn't just extended, but really, it becomes infinite. The game will never technically go out of style as long as there's someone, even if it's a modder, still working on the game. And I think that's one of the most important aspects of a game, is that the community has a sense of ownership over the game. And this open source, and I say that in quotes, this open source approach to game development is one very important, because when the community is encouraged, as whether you're a modder, whether you're just a player, whether you're a single player fan, whether you're a multiplayer fan, maybe you love both, everybody is encouraged strongly to play the game, to find something that you want, that you dislike. It can be anything. For example, people that play the game when it first came out, on the first day that it came out, the map design, some parts of the map were just honestly terrible, and very difficult to maneuver around. But guess what? That's the beauty of this game. Is why? Because you let others in the community know about what you're displeased with, and guess what? All of you can come together to work out the problem, to figure out, well, if this is a problem, then what is the best solution to it? And that's something that, again, you do not see with these larger companies, because typically how it is there's a problem in the game. So you let the developers know. Developers send you an automated message. We received your report. And guess what? Nothing ever happens. Nothing's ever followed up with it. So that's very important when the community is held on the same level as the core development team. Modders, everybody is the same. Everybody has an equal amount of talking, if you get what I mean. And that's important because obviously with this open source approach to game development, this hasn't really been seen yet. It hasn't been as prolific as Operation Harsh Doorstop. Now, we don't know enough to say that it is bad or it is definitely good, but for what we are witnessing currently, you can't deny that this is a bad approach given that the community has had such a large say in how this game, the direction that this game is headed in. And I'll also argue that this approach to game development, where this one game, it's almost like a smorgasbord. There's a plate and there's everything on it. There's something for everyone. And I see this approach to game development, this open source, as necessary in order to compete and combat the terrible practices that we're witnessing in the modern gaming industry. Why? Because these days we're seeing people, obviously during this time of high inflation, $10 for an in-game digital skin is definitely concerning. So it's almost these companies are bleeding customers with their hard-earned money dry just for extra revenue. And when you see this, it's very concerning. It's a very concerning trend. And this is a fantastic relief that we've seen from Operation Harsh Doorstop. And when you look at a typical game, compare this approach to game development to, for example, I'm not throwing any shade at this game, but for example, Escape from Tarkov, right? Look at that game and compare it to this game. Escape from Tarkov has a set roadmap in a way. They have goals that they want to reach. For example, you've seen the Escape from Tarkov arena mode. You've seen that. You've seen many features that they promised to add. For example, in-game traders on the Lighthouse map. Yes, they do. They are working on that. But for example, when the community is having trouble on specific, one part of the game, for example, the very controversial cheater situation, you see that the community doesn't really have much of a say in that. It took great dissent to get the Reddit page to even allow people to discuss that controversial topic. Now back on to the topic of Operation Harsh Doorstop. There are things that people are looking forward to in the game. For example, probably the most hyped thing that people want to see the most is anti-cheat. I imagine playing in an online match, having it ruined by cheaters is definitely not fun. But it is coming eventually. And should it not by the core developers, and you have modders that you can rely on. And Blue Drake said, an official solution, a made-up solution by the community, either will work. There are options to take. This is my conclusion that I'm having on my discussion now. I want you to think for a minute and give it to the modern gaming industry for a second. Look at a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2013 when it first came out. It was this fantastic game that we couldn't believe. It had online so you could play Grand Theft Auto with your buddies, never seen before. And look at what happens as the years go on, as this game sells very well, and then sales are up, and then microtransactions come in, and then profits and revenue just skyrocket like it did during the pandemic. And then what was once something, a little piece of the online experience, suddenly becomes the mainstay. Corporate interests get involved, shareholders, stakeholders, whoever it may be, they start seeing these profits come in, and then they start demanding more from the developers, from the game studio, and next thing you know, the players and their satisfaction is put to the sidelines, in a way, sacrificed so that the money can keep rolling in. You can clearly see this happen with Battlefield 2042, a fantastic trailer, probably the best Battlefield trailer ever made, fantastic promises, and look what happened at the end. Upon release, you have to play as these specialists, basically hero shooters, there's microtransactions in the game, and there's so many broken promises that now the average gamer, I would suspect, anytime they see something promising, they're going to be speculative. In a way, their trust has been betrayed by these companies. And that is why I believe Operation Harsh Doorstep, and that is why I believe Operation Harsh Doorstop is the antithesis to the modern gaming industry, is because they have provided a new approach to developing a game that will satisfy the players and last forever. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for joining in this video. And if you can, please drop a comment down in the comment section below. I would love to start a discussion. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys disagree? I would love to hear it. And again, I want to thank you all so much for stopping by. This is my first video, and I would love to continue this a little more if you guys enjoy my content. So also, if I could kindly request that you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have a fantastic idea for my next video, and I can't wait to see you guys back here. Goodbye.